Mic check, mic check. How's that? There we go. I think we're back. I'm popping now. Embarrassing. Thankfully, I have a sound effect for that. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. I have been sitting here talking to no one for the last 2 minutes, but thankfully things are back now. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you are a regular, you know what to do. Make sure you click that like button. And if you are enjoying the content that you're watching today, subscribe. Usually the content that we have has audio with it, not more than just our silly soundtrack. We're glad to have all of our friends joining us here. Steffi and I had a really nice 3 or 4 day vacation where we sat by the beach and rested and recuperated and got massages. Oh no, actually we drove ourselves all the way down to Athens, Tennessee, a 9-10 hour drive pretty much to get down there and back, but had a wonderful time. Loved the people of Athens, Tennessee, who helped us to film our first film documentary, The Battle of Athens, Bleed American, The Battle of Athens. And I can't wait to share with you more about that at 7:30 this morning. We'll talk a little bit about it. We got in late last night, but we're here for you this morning on the Wake Up America show and excited to continue the program. Starting at the top of the show, tourists have been going on an absolute rampage this summer. A lot of photographs and videos showing how wildly out of control tourists have been this summer. Some travelers have defaced monuments and gotten way too close to wildlife. Photos and videos show tourists in the U.S. and Europe paying little mind to heat wave warnings as well. As a matter of fact, Stephanie and I saw somebody collapse right in front of us down in Tennessee from heat exhaustion. So it's been a really disgusting, sticky, hot, drought-filled summer. We'll talk about that at the top of the show. And then we also are going to talk about how the outdoors is apparently racist now. Yes, apparently going outdoors is racist. Why do I say this? Because the NBC News leftist MSM indoctrination machine, hosted by NPCs at NBC, posted a story on Meet the Black Outdoorsy Groups, Reclaiming the Joys of Nature. Black people across the country enjoying the outdoors by forming their own communities of nature enthusiasts, where an article suggests that perhaps Black people need segregated areas in the outdoors so that they can feel safe. What the hell? It makes no sense, but it's not supposed to make any sense. It's NBC News. Do you remember, I don't know about you, but do you remember when you were a kid and you used to think that the news was the news, that when you would watch the news that you thought, oh, this is the story. You're getting the real story here. This is actual news. I'm watching NBC. This is like the big stuff. CBS, ABC, NBC. You would watch those and be like, oh, wow. It's nice to watch the news and find out what's going on in the world, where we're getting rich content and reporting about things that are actually happening versus propaganda pieces, hit pieces, and nothing but bias from top to bottom. I mean, maybe I was just a naive kid. We all are, but there used to be a time when I thought when we watched the news that it was actual news and reporting. What about you? Studio 314 asked, did we happen to go through Gatlinburg at all? I can't remember. We went through so many ding-dang little towns. I don't know. I know we went through Paducah, Kentucky. We went through Nashville. I got some White Castle. And can't remember what else. So there was just too many ding-dang small towns that we went through. I don't remember. Apparently LED light bulb, not LED light bulbs, but incandescent light bulbs will be banned because they're racist. No, I'm just kidding. But they will be banned. Welcome back from our travel, says Tolly Owens. Good morning, Tolly. Nice to see you. Feeling cheerful and in a good mood? Yeah. Andy Opperman says, as a child, it never occurred to me that someone on the news would. Me either, Andy. I couldn't imagine somebody on the news actually would. You know what I'm saying here? Let's see here what else we've got here. Incandescent light bulbs will be banned, and we'll talk about that at 7:30 from my cold, dead hands. Actually, pretty hot. If you grab an incandescent light bulb, they'll burn you. At 7:51 this morning, Collie Man, Stephanie just demanded that I talk about the story, essentially. Not really, but like she just kept bringing it up because she couldn't believe it. So Stephanie's a good gauge of what people really like and is what normal people are interested in. And I kept seeing the story and rolling my eyes. You probably did too if you are watching the news like we do. Man who spent $14,000 to transform himself into a border collie steps out for his first ever walk in public. And I know what you're thinking. It's got to be some degenerate Japanese man. Well, you're right. It is, and the video shows, of course, the aiders and abettors of all degeneracy on this planet. A liberal white woman walking with him in the frame. So we'll play that for you this morning, and we'll talk about it. My grandmother actually said they can't say it if it isn't true. Says Robbie Thurman. Sure. Right. Yeah, that's how that works. But we'll talk about the latest in the fall and decline of civilization at 7:51 this morning. At 8 o'clock, we've got Jon Miltimore joining us on the show to talk about why electric vehicles are piling up at dealerships despite massive taxpayer subsidies, and Ford continues to lose billions of dollars to produce electric vehicles that no one is buying. And now China is actually stepping in to start selling cheap electric vehicles here in the United States. China is trying to flood the U.S. market with cheap electric vehicles. I love it whenever newspapers, speaking of biased newspapers, I love it whenever newspapers somebody use the word flood the market, right? So it's like, oh my God, they're going to flood the market. We're all going to drown. Good God, no. Whatever you do, don't flood the market. Despite the fact that the Federal Reserve continues to print trillions of dollars and flood the market with trillions of dollars, you don't hear the banks freaking out about that. No, don't flood the market with dollars. They're all like, yeah, flood the market. Yeah, print the dollars. Print them, flood the market. But somebody comes in and starts flooding the market with cheap goods. No! It's Godzilla. Whatever you do, don't flood the market. The last thing that this country needs is poor people being able to afford the same goods and services as rich people like us. Am I right? Am I right? If you hate poor people, then definitely, whatever you do, make sure you fight against those communist Chinese flooding our markets with cheap goods and services, thereby engaging in capitalism. So to stop the Chinese from engaging in capitalism, we should engage in communism here to prevent the flooding of our markets with too cheap of goods and services. It doesn't make any sense.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. If you're enjoying the show this morning, make sure that you click like on the stream and subscribe to the channel, because that is how we manage to spread the ideas of economic freedom and personal liberty. We all appreciate you very much. Have you guys seen this summer how everybody's been throwing crap at artists? It's been wild. So it's been multiple reports of concert goers. And how much money are these people paying to go and see all of these concerts, and then they go and they throw stuff at Taylor Swift? Can you imagine spending $1,000 on a ticket with you and your friend or whatever to go see Taylor Swift, and then you end up throwing a water bottle at her and stuff like that? It's just like, it's not even like tomatoes and cabbages and stuff that like they used to throw in the day. It's like, oh, it's a terrible performance, boo, and you throw tomatoes and cabbages. I don't know, maybe that's what they did in Shakespeare's time. But I saw that Cardi B, somebody threw a drink on Cardi B, and she like took her microphone, and I mean, she had a good throw, just woof, threw her microphone straight down at the audience member who splashed her with his drink on purpose. And I'm saying to myself here, like, this is getting out of control. And honestly, I don't blame Cardi B for doing it. I've got the video. There's more videos of other people having stuff thrown at them. I think Lady Gaga had something thrown at her and like it hit her in the head. Britney Spears. I mean, there's so many examples of this that have occurred in the past. People throwing shoes and stuff at artists, and it's kind of like, what do you expect to get out of this? Imagine being so dumb. I actually saw one concert goer threw their phone at the person, and I was just like, what are you doing? Like, why on God's green earth would you spend so much money to go and see someone? And of course, what are you gonna do? You're gonna get kicked out. But in like at a Cardi B concert, honestly, I would be afraid you're gonna get your ass kicked. Miss Wren over there says Cardi B hit the wrong person. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? We'll talk about that a little bit later, Miss Wren. I'd love to see the article on that one. Cite your source, Miss. Oh yeah, NBC News. We'll talk to Jon Cardillo today on the show. Are you excited about that? Jon Cardillo will join us this morning, former NYPD, to talk about Donald Trump spending more than $40 million on legal bills this year as his charges mount. A Trump campaign spokesperson argued that the cost was to fight the Department of Justice's weaponization. I do have to say that, like, being gone for 4 days and filming a documentary, that I did keep an eye on the news, but it was nice to not have the Trump, like, DeSantis people in my face, because just on the margins of what I was seeing while I was away and trying to focus on producing an awesome documentary, it looks as if these people are just absolutely going bonkers on each other. It's, to me, I don't understand why they hate each other so much, but I guess to some extent you can make an argument for, they're competing for the same thing, but it's like these are so many of the same people. But you know what? You never fight an enemy as so much as you'll fight your friends, right? You will fight your friends way more, the people that you're closest to. It reminds me a little bit of the battles in the libertarian movement with like the MAGA people and the DeSantis people, where it's kind of like you're not a real libertarian, and it's all like, oh, you're a minarchist, oh, you're an anarchist, and it's like, oh, you disagree on like 2 or 3 things, but like libertarians will just like slice each other's throat and like cut each other's like genitals off and like deface them, hold them above their heads like a little testicle sack of a trophy, like, "Rah, I've destroyed the minarchist." Bah. I'm sorry, it'll be a little weird this morning. You can text the show today at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. We'd love to hear from our listeners today. If you want to have your voice heard on the show, you can do so for free at that number when you text us at 573-319-1586. You can also drop us a super chat on the show to help support the message of economic freedom and personal liberty. And when you do that, you help us to spread the freedom around. But also, you can check out apforlibertyshop.com. And if you do check out apforliberty.shop.com, you can check out our awesome new brand of Founding Flavors coffee. I took the bag of Thomas Jefferson's Founding Flavors with me over the weekend with us on Athens, down to Athens, and I was drinking that stuff every morning because that light roast has got a little bit more caffeine, and I needed it. I needed Daddy's Go-Go juice, and I got to say, it did the job. It was absolutely delicious. Have you seen the reviews of our coffee? Because I'll tell you, people are coffee snobs, and I get it. I'm a coffee snob myself. If it's not good coffee, I won't drink it, right? I don't eat or drink things that I don't like, right? I'm not going to do something out of the goodness of my heart for someone, take something into my body like that, and if I really don't enjoy it or if it's not good for me or whatever, well, I'll eat or drink something if it's not good for me, but it better taste good. You know what I'm saying, right? but it does taste good. And if you haven't tasted it yet, what's wrong with you? Come on, give it a try. Go to apforlibertyshop.com. Get yourself some delicious founding flavors. Stop giving money to corporations that hate you and take your money and use it for ideals that you don't support. Support freedom, patriotism, and pro-American libertarians like myself, and grab yourself a delicious bag of founding flavors coffee over at apforlibertyshop.com. All right, let's talk about the tours. Here's the deal. Because I know what's going on with the audio, why there wasn't an audio earlier. Every time I switch scenes, there's going to be a brief moment where you won't hear audio for a second until I can fix it. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to my Twitter scene so I can play the clips for you of all these tourists gone wild, if you will. You won't be able to hear me for a moment until I manage to get the microphone turned back on. So let's go ahead and do that. Just please bear with me this morning. When I change scenes, I'll have to fix the microphone each time. Okay, here we go.
Say whatever you want. I'm telling you, I'm getting the fuck off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the fuck off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two fucks, but I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can fucking die with them or not. I'm not going to. Bye. Say whatever you want. I'm telling you, I'm getting the fuck off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the fuck off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two fucks, but I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real.
Hello. That mother effer is not real. All right, there we go. So that was the first incident of tourist weirdness this summer, but you could see a teenage girl from Switzerland defacing the Colosseum in Rome. Take a look. And Italy has been complaining about this big time this summer. And she gets an applause. Yeah, this is a tourist defacing the Colosseum in Rome. The funny thing about this is that, one, people are going to let her get away with it because she's a cutie. And two, whenever we find graffiti from 1,000 years ago like this, people are always like, oh, they're so fascinated. Oh, my goodness, the graffiti. We can see people where they wrote their names 1,000 years ago. And we love it when people leave graffiti from 1,000 years ago, but we don't like it when people do graffiti today. Isn't that a little bit, a little strange? How far back in history do we have to say, oh, we'll actually appreciate this graffiti? Because it's kind of like cave paintings. When we see cave paintings from like 46,000 years ago, we're like, oh my God, look, they took their hand and wet it in mud and they put their hand on the wall, and we're like, oh my God. Oh man, it's so cute, so lovely, so beautiful. This art. It's like literally just a stupid kid took a cave kid took his hand in paint and put it up on the wall. But you'll have like beautiful teenage girls going to the Colosseum and writing her name on the wall. And it's like Italy is putting out an APB for anybody who defaces the Colosseum. Now, here we see someone who's not a cute teenage girl. And so therefore we are outraged.
Serious, man? It's fucked up, man.
See his little stupid face there? His man face, his I'm not attractive face. Yeah, I'm not a cute teenage girl face. Look at him. How dare you, sir? What are you looking at, Stephanie? Keep turning around. Something makes me think something's wrong. My lovely wife is here with me today in the room. Yes. So he is a man, and therefore burn him at the stake.
How dare you?
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
How dare you?
I think we need to call the FBI. FBI, open up! If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, we love having you here. Make sure you click like on the stream and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content that you're watching with us here today. Looks like Studio 314 says he's got the Franklin's Electric Elixir in his possession. He needs to clean the coffee pot before he brews some to get the full flavor. That's what I'm drinking today. It's my favorite. It's absolutely delicious. Andy Opperman likes the Jeffersonian Java. Yeah, that's what I was drinking all weekend. It's so good. Tolly Owen says she's ordering more today. She's already out. Hey, one thing real quick, just so you know, there are 2 coffee pages on the AP for Liberty shop. And if you want to save money, if you buy more than one bag, make sure you buy the bundles. Go to the bundles page. If you buy like 2, 3, 4 bags of coffee at a time, the savings add up. So it's like a 2% discount, a 5% discount, a 10% discount, and a 12% discount, and that all adds up. So if you buy 4 bags of coffee, then you're going to get that 12% discount on it. So make sure that if you buy more than one, that you go to the bundles page and put it all together, bundle it. That way you can get the savings. So Tourists Gone Wild. More people have been getting way too close to bison. Bison and buffalo. They're the same thing, right? Bison, just another word for buffalo? No? Off we're going to shuffle. Shuffle off to buffalo. Woman taking a selfie gets too close to bison at Yellowstone. Here she is. Is she a cute teenager with a little bit of gold in a pager? I don't know. She looks mid. TBH. There's a difference between bison and buffalo. What's the difference between bison and buffalo, Steph? True buffalo are native to Africa and Asia, and bison are found in North America and Europe. Okay. So this is Yellowstone's been complaining about this all summer. And I don't know, maybe it's the heat or maybe just people are finally starting to take vacations again after COVID. But take a look at what a bison will do. And I'll show you what a bison can do in a second. But here's another guy who decided to get too close. This was in Yellowstone, Wyoming, but it looks like it was during the winter. Look at this. And the funny thing is that this guy is like, he is not dressed to run away from a bison. Okay. The bison is like, oh, I will mess you up. And you think, oh, they look so sweet. They're just like cute little cows. Watch what this one bison does to another, right? The next time you decide to approach a bison at Yellowstone, here's what they can do to you. Watch this. And dude, that's to another bison. How much do these things weigh? Like 2 tons? They weigh like more than some cars. Okay, now look at that. Watch this bison. He comes out here from the left and just I don't know what a bison sounds like. I'm just making it up. Corey C's got it right. Dumb ways to die. Dumb ways to die. Fake news. That's summer in Wyoming, bros. The Onion Dip is here with us. Yes, bison and buffalo are the same. You are wrong, the Onion Dip. You are wrong, sir. Maria Crab says, we had bison in Maryland on government property. My border collie wanted to jump out of the car to herd them in the worst way. Are you sure that was a border collie? Because you never can tell these days, according to the news. Don't poke the animals, says Jared Pierce. There was a video of sea lions chasing tourists off of their beach that I saw as well over the weekend, but I wasn't able to find it before I had to go. So that's the video of the Japanese man turning himself into a border collie. Anyways, probably best not to disturb the animals this summer. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm still a little rusty this weekend, a little sleepy from getting home late from the trip this weekend. So please abide by all the technical difficulties we might have this morning. And when I get back, we can talk about how the documentary went on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Petersen is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Hey, Hello, my name is Kelvin. Welcome to Frenchy Bush. This is my Didi's website, and I've decided to speak to you with my real voice for the first time ever to tell you about how cool Frenchy Bush is. But I've decided that this is the perfect opportunity to share with you. Frenchy Bush is a good website. You should follow us on socials. If you like Frenchies or any kind of bulldogs, me and my new brother George are going to try to make your life more fun.
Hello, I'm George. My neck isn't really thick yet, but it will be. We are so glad you're here. Please ignore my floating eyeball. It helps me spot predators who might be approaching from the sides.
Didi made Frenchy Bush to review things that he uses on me and my brother to tell you if it's good or bullshit. Take this collar, for example. Didi really likes it. Didi said it's really handy because us Frenchies got thick necks. Need something really tough. People think Frenchies are little, but if you look at us from below, you can see we are really pretty buff. Beefcake, yes. Look at my creamy thighs and chest. Yes, you like that?
Big brother, please focus.
Frenchy Bush. Please follow us for more great content and read the Frenchy Bush blog for more fun and cool stuff.
I'm a public defender.
I am a public defender.
I'm proud to be a public defender.
80% of Americans accused of a crime will get appointed a public defender.
Everybody from a speeding ticket to capital murder.
For every dollar we spend on public defenders, we spend $3 on prosecutors.
Public defenders have to do pretty much everything on their own.
Social workers, counselors.
Investigating is another piece of it.
The average public defender holds 300 cases annually.
You never feel like there's enough time.
Public defenders have health issues all the time.
A lot of people give up and say, I can't do this work anymore.
Gideon's Promise trains, mentors, and supports public defenders.
There are a lot of people who say that they would not still be public defenders, but for Gideon's Promise.
It's fueled me to continue on in this fight.
Gideon's Promise has changed the face of public defense.
People see us as troublemakers.
Good trouble only.
We don't make it easy. It should not be easy to take away someone's liberty.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your Founding Flavors at apforlibertyshop.com. Good morning, Rise in Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com. Is camping racist? Why are you laughing? How dare you? Well, an NBC report claiming that black people needed, quote, safe spaces to enjoy the great outdoors was heavily mocked on Twitter on Wednesday. Well, I guess heavily mocked on X on Tuesday. Ugh, what the hell? Kind of an awkward thing to say. So since we're not Twittering anymore or tweeting anymore, what are we doing? Like the closest thing that I've heard that they say that we need to do or call it is zeeting. Go post a zeet. It sounds like the kind of thing like, what was that show where it was a bunch of nerds and it was Silicon Valley. Did you ever watch that show, Silicon Valley, the comedy show? And they were talking about all the different tech companies that were getting started. It sounds like one of those fake tech companies that you would come up with on a comedy show. Like, what is the social network called? Well, it's called X. What are you gonna do? Well, you're gonna zeet instead of tweet. I'm gonna say I kind of miss Twitter already. What about you?
How dare you?
Oh, sorry, Elon. I just not really super keen on the update. Did you see that your Twitter app changed? Anyways, is camping racist? That's a BC reporter named Char Adams, black person named Char. That's interesting. Describes several black-led outdoor groups working to provide. I would not name a black child Char. I would think that'd be racist. Like, because you just, what I think is like bird ends. Why don't you name your black child bird ends? Please don't name your children your black children names like Char. And then complain about racism. Anyways, Char Adams, an NBC BLK reporter, that makes me think like BK. Now I'm on Burger King. Is working to provide safe spaces for black people to enjoy outdoor activities and dispel myths that the outdoors doesn't belong to us. Well, because as we all know, at the annual meeting of the of white Americans last week, we were doing a pretty darn good job of keeping the black people inside their houses, right? The last thing we want to do, and the first item on the agenda last week at the annual white conference, was how do we keep the black people from going outdoors? Because that has been at the top of my mind. I don't know about you. Certainly hope people appreciate sarcasm. Anyways, Char Adams, the unfortunately named, explained that groups were founded to combat racism from the Jim Crow. Oh God, here we go. From the Jim Crow era, barring African Americans from national parks and stereotypes that black people did not enjoy outdoor activities. Is this about the swimming thing? Because I swear to God, I've never seen a black person in my life who couldn't swim. Although there was that unfortunate incident last week with Obama's chef who went out on a paddleboarding incident and they found him face down in the water and he drowned. But there was evidence that he had learned to swim. So the black chef at the Obama estate out in, what is it? Long Island, but it's the Hamptons essentially. That does have one for wonder if outdoor activities are a good idea. Maybe the real danger is just working for the Obamas or perhaps the Clinton family. But they're white. So. Anyway, the NBC News report focused on creating racially segregated safe spaces, I kid you not, to avoid, quote, harassment and trauma from white people, such as the presence of, here we go, get this, Trump flags flying at campsites. Oh, yes, because, it used to be that if you saw a Confederate flag flying at a campsite, now you'd be like, oh, okay, so, maybe if you went over there, if you're a black person, you wouldn't feel so safe to walk over there to Bubba and say hello if they had the Confederate flag. Well, maybe not. You never know. Some guys fly that flag because they think it's just a sign of rebellion. Stephanie and I saw many rebel flags as we headed out into East Tennessee the other day, and well, we felt perfectly safe. But again, we are white, so that does. If it's white, it's all right, I guess. But I can imagine that a black person seeing a Trump flag, I don't know. Does it really have the same significance? I'm gonna go out there and say no. But Trump flags flying at campsites, I can imagine that, that is not exactly a sign of racism. Well, of course, criticism jumped all over. Conservatives pounced, if you will. My friend Marina Medvin, she says she cracked that the outdoors was now racist. The trauma of being outdoors, a ginger's tale, said redheaded writer Chad Felix Green. Of course, he's just kidding. Because, if you're a ginger and you're being outdoors, is the sun racist against gingers? Because gingers can't really go outdoors. It's a little hot out there, isn't it? America. Yes.
Look at her. She looks like she's 19 years old, sitting there like a little lady or a lady's crying.
Hey, no. That's the wrong Biden clip. I need the America clip, please.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to excuse me.
Kentucky State University political science professor Wilfred Riley said the report was an unbearable example of, quote, upper-class, left-wing neuroticism and fake race gender grievance from the media. Of course it is. But I really like the quote, the tweet, or I guess it's Zeet, so annoying, from Zaid Jilani, who says, does a week go by without an article from a once reputable news organization suggesting the minorities live in an endless M. Night Shyamalan movie where our entire lives are spent hiding from this or that? Another Twitter user lashed out at the article, describing its author as, quote, fragile. I promise you guys, the Black community is not this fragile. We've been going outdoors since the dawn of time. This was written by some oversensitive gender studies major who's probably never set foot outside of their crime-ridden, Democratic-run city. I have to say, I do find it quite hilarious. But it was obvious. It was foretold in the prophecies that said that everything will eventually become racist. So eventually the outdoors was going to become racist. What's next? What do you think will next become racist? White bread, for example? No, we can't have white bread. We must have pumpernickel, for God's sakes, because it's racist. And if you eat rye bread, that's anti-Semitic. Rye bread is anti-Semitic. White bread is racist. Pumpernickel is okay. What other kind of breads are there that have a racial connotation to them? White bread, because we do use white bread as like a slur for white people, right? Kind of like cracker. But what about let's see. Somebody, Guokus0422 says, thanks for the tip. I'll make sure I get a Trump flag for my next camping trip. No!
God! No, God,
Hawaiian
please,
bread?
No!
That is racist against Samoans. Boo, miss. Boo. Hawaiian bread? What other kinds of bread are there with racial connotations? Let's see. There's honey wheat, which is probably what isn't there Italian bread, for God's sakes. Challah, that's racist. Yeah, that's anti-Semitic. Yeah, but I thought the rye was like a little bit closer for the Jewish thing. But yeah, challah, pretty good. Challah. What other kind of bread is there? Right? Are there? Let's see. Hawaiian rolls, racist against Samoans. Sourdough is very white, but it is sour. Yeah, so it's like, what are you trying to say? That I'm sour? Is this sour? What, sour white people? I don't know. Maybe it's because with sourdough, it's sour, so it's like old people. It's ageist because it's aged. If you use yeast in your bread, you're racist. You can text the show today at 573-319-1586. Again, you can text the show today and let us know what's on your mind at 573-319-1586. We'd love to have a lot of fun on this show, and we certainly will. We've got Jon Cardillo who'll be joining us this morning at 8:30 a.m. He's going to talk to us a little bit today about all of Trump's legal woes and the $40 million that he's having to pay in order to stave off all of the indictments and legal challenges he's going to be facing. Wouldn't it be crazy if Donald Trump is actually sitting in jail while he's running for president of the United States? And some people have asked the question at the beginning of the summer whether or not actually you could run for office if you're in jail. And the answer to that question is yes. And there have been people who have run for office and won that elected office while they were in that jail cell. It happened like sometime pretty close after the American Revolution when we first got the Constitution signed, sealed, and delivered. So Kermode Bear is over on Rumble this morning. Good morning, Kermode. And he's already bragging to us, saying, Austin, I have chickens now. Well, aren't you just a lucky duck? I have to say, we were thinking about getting chickens, but it is a big pain in the butt trying to find the right pen and enclosure and then have to deal with all the travel that we do and who's going to take care of them and water them and keep them safe from predators. So I have promised Stephanie that we will get her chickens, and there will be chickens at the Peterson household at some point, but we're just not there yet. One day when we're maybe a little bit more settled in, we got to have babies before chickens. Different eggs that need to be fertilized. You know what I'm saying? Will Run Riot says, I've actually known quite a few black people who couldn't swim. Kermode Bear says, I think racism should be the next racist thing. Very funny. WOCAS 0422. If you're commenting, then make sure you like and subscribe as well. We are trying to grow as much as we can over on Rumble because I really like the platform and they've been good to us. So make sure you click like and subscribe if you're watching us on Rumble now or later. We appreciate that very much. Okay, what's next on the stuff? Oh, it's time for us to talk about the documentary. Okay, so absolutely fantastic time. Steffi and I headed down to Athens, Tennessee together with all of our equipment in tow. We hired a director of photography for the actual festival day, but the first 2 days was mostly us just schlepping giant boxes, heavy boxes full of lights and cameras and microphones as we set up our filming to record people who were either tangentially involved with or who had parents who were involved in the Battle of Athens, which, if you don't know the story by now, I've told it a million billion times. Definitely go Google it, Wikipedia it. We are filming this documentary because a festival has sprouted up there in Athens to commemorate the anniversary of the Battle of Athens, which actually was August 1st, and it went from August 1st to 2nd. Battle of Athens occurred overnight on August 1st and 2nd of 1946. And this festival has sprung up a few years ago to commemorate the Battle of Athens, which drew a small crowd. And we sat down with interviews for some of the people who showed up and talked to them about why they were there and what the Battle of Athens meant to them. And we'll be putting together a documentary project that I think will be very exciting to help educate more Americans about the first successful insurrection in the United States since the American Revolution and what these heroic World War II veterans did when they returned back from the conflict in Europe and Japan to find that they had been fighting for democracy overseas and had lost their right to vote here at home. One person, one vote, and it didn't count. In that small town, while political machines were widespread across the country, this was the only example of Americans who, taking up their right to bear arms, went and launched a siege against the corrupt democratic political machine, which had holed itself up with the ballots from an election in their local jail. World War II veterans demanded they turn over the ballots, and when the political machine and the Democrats and their deputies refused, the GIs fired on the jail and ensued a 6-hour fight between the two forces. We've got incredible interviews from people who are related to members of people who were shot at that day. We actually interviewed some absolutely fascinating people, and I can't wait to share this with you. I will say that there was an interesting theme that emerged throughout this, which I think will find its way into the documentary, because when we went into it, my first thinking of this is a Second Amendment documentary. And then after that, my thought is, oh, well, this is a documentary about election integrity. But then Stephanie actually brought something up to me that I think has superseded all of it. But it really, I think the documentary is going to be about reconciliation, because one of the more fascinating angles of this story that we learned about was how the town managed to heal after this incredible violence which occurred, and all of the hard feelings on both sides that had been built up after over a decade of political corruption in this small town. I'll say that Athens, Tennessee is beautiful. We learned a lot about East Tennessee. And I have to also say, hey, thank you big time to OK Trey for the donation in the super chat. I appreciate you very much. He says, looking forward to seeing your documentary and learning something. Yeah, Stephanie and I were talking about that, how much we learned while we were there. And we learned a lot about the people of East Tennessee, and we learned not to say Eastern Tennessee because they don't like that. We learned how to say Cantrell versus Cantrell. Whenever if you said or did something wrong in Tennessee, the people of Tennessee were very polite, but they managed to remind you to ensure that you say things the right way or do things the right way there. But honestly, it made me love America even more, and to learn more about our country and how resourceful the people of the United States are in protecting their liberties and in building tight-knit communities. We obviously spoke to a lot of people who are, the bigwigs in town, the mayor of McMinn. We spoke to the local state representative, and we spoke to people who are the sort of the movers and shakers in the community. But honestly, the people who impressed me the most were the average citizens, the regular people who were related to people who fought in the Battle of Athens, or people who, their grandfather. We spoke to one person whose grandfather was shot the day of the election. He was a black man talking about civil rights and voting integrity, and it was very compelling, and I'm very excited for the opportunity to present this to you. My challenge and my struggle now will be to try and raise enough money to film the actual battle itself in order to make the documentary what I think it could be at its zenith. But I'll tell you this, that if I'm unsuccessful in that, and there is a chance, then plan B will be to take what we have, the footage we have, which is beautiful footage, gorgeous footage, and we will make an incredible documentary for you with what we have, and I think you will like it. So we'll see what happens there. It was interesting on the final day that we were there. We were doing drone photography of the town and the sunrise in the morning, and it got some beautiful photography. And then our plan was in the evening that we were going to shoot the sunset over the town with another drone. And it was about an hour and a half left until the festival was over when the clouds started to roll in the sky. And we're just about to film an interview with a lady who was there with us, who was very excited to be in the documentary and to speak. And all of a sudden, Stephanie had just turned to walk away to go and put something away or to go wrangle another guest, and the lightning struck just right next to us. Boom. Keep in mind, the cameraman is holding this giant steel tripod and a camera on the top of it. So we're covered in electronics and metal and steel and all this stuff. And I just look at the lady, and I walked up to her and I was like, "I'm sorry, lady. Ma'am, I have to cancel this." So we canceled the interview, grabbed everything that we could so we wouldn't get electrocuted, and threw it in the vehicle. And as soon as we jumped in our cars, the sky just opened up on us. I mean, it was, and then of course we had an hour and a half until sunset, hoping that the skies would brighten up and we'd be able to film the town. We weren't able to do it, but because we were so hardworking yesterday morning, when we got up early, we did get the sunrise over the town. So we are going to have some just beautiful photography that I think you all will appreciate, to sort of highlight what started as a dark story in my mind and really has turned into a story about light and reconciliation. So I'm looking forward to telling that story to you in a long form manner and sharing with you all the interesting characters that we met. The funny thing was about the shoot yesterday is not only did we get almost hit by lightning, we actually were filming and a car crash occurred right in front of us. Unfortunately, we didn't get the car crash itself on camera, but of course you can probably hear it at some point. But that happened right in front of us. Lightning struck right next to us. And then a lady passed out from heat exhaustion, had a heat stroke right in front of us. Steffi and I are just sitting there. So, of course, the fire truck has to come, and the person who's the speaker at that time has to stop because the whole crowd is standing around looking at a lady who passed out from heat exhaustion in front of us. And Steffi and I are just sitting. We're finally taking a little break because we got the cameraman doing something, and we're just eating our snow cones, and the lady just passes out right in front of us. I wish somebody, maybe, who knows? The cameraman might have been filming us at that point, eating our, he was? Yeah, so who knows? I don't know if I'll make it into the documentary. Me and Stephanie eating snow cones, watching people treating the lady who fell over from heat exhaustion. But you can't say that it wasn't an exciting weekend. And I do have to say again, thank you to all of you, because without all of you, our donors and supporters, we would not have been able to do something like that, because it was a quite expensive experience just to get those 3 days shot, from travel and expenses and food and the cameraman and the drone, and all of that stuff was, it was making our pocketbooks bleed to make Bleed American. But we do appreciate all of our supporters for stepping in to help us defray some of that costs, especially Andy Opperman, who made a very big, generous donation. Many of you have all made generous donations, so we are super grateful for you. Let's give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I just have to go find some guy to give me $200,000 so I can get a whole bunch of machine guns and Tommy guns and dynamite and grenades and actually film the recreation of the recreation of the battle. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah. But in the vein, while we're talking about money, let's talk about our friend. Mic check, there we are. Okay. Like I said, every time I switch scenes today to a new scene, it's going to be doing that. Anyways, I just want to say thank you to Lear Capital for going out of their way to sponsor the Wake Up America show, because without the Wake Up America show, without Lear Capital, there would be no Wake Up America show. They're a big sponsor, and they know that despite the fact that the Wake Up America show isn't the biggest talk show online, they believe in our message, what we're doing here, and they know that you, the audience of the Wake Up America show, would absolutely benefit from learning more about their deals in gold and silver. I highly recommend that you give them a call at 1-800-885-2175. That's 1-800-885-2175. If you haven't learned more about how to invest in gold and silver, not just physical coins, but also their Roth IRA offerings, which is their most popular package, you can get more information for free by visiting learaustin.com. And it's a free way to support the show, because the more people who sign up for their free informational packet, the more value it is to them, and they say, okay, let's continue to sponsor Lear Capital. I know for you, like watching the show, nobody likes advertisements, and I get that, but just remember that advertising is a great way for you to be able to enjoy the Wake Up America show for free. And you can help support the show for free and get more information about how to invest in gold and silver at learaustin.com. That's Learaustin.com. Visit learaustin.com or give them a call today at 1-800-885-2175. Call them today and get more information about how to secure your financial future. Excuse me. Sorry about that for the sound, guys. All right, so what else do we have? Let's see. We still have Jon Cardillo, who's going to join us at 8:30 this morning to talk about Trump spending $40 million in legal bills in order to protect himself from the multiple indictments that he's facing. And right now, he's the front runner in the Republican primary for president of the United States. Kind of a yikes, don't you think? I mean, whether or not you like Trump or hate Trump, it certainly is confusing to have to deal with all of these things at the same time. But, you know, it's funny, the people who like Trump, and I spoke to a lot of people in Athens, Tennessee, who they don't care about any of that stuff. The funny thing is that the more involved you are in politics directly, the more likely you are to say, I would never support this candidate because of some esoteric reason that really just doesn't touch the heartland of America. It really doesn't touch what average people, when they consider who they're going to vote for, they don't care about any of that minutia. They either like Trump or they hate Trump, and there's no in between, and you're not going to change their minds, and they're going to vote for who they think is the best candidate no matter what. It just, for people like us who are so more in tune, finger on the pulse kind of people, watching, listening, every tweet, every Facebook post, every argument, every, thing that a politician tweets and posts and stuff, we have these very, like I said, esoteric reasons for deciding why we're voting for this person or supporting that person. And you know what? Average people, they just aren't like that, which I find fascinating. We'll talk to Jon Cardillo about that, though, this morning at 8:30. But coming up next at 8 o'clock, 5 minutes from now, we're going to speak to Jon Miltimore. We got nothing but Johns on the show. Good night, John boy. We'll talk to Jon Miltimore from the Foundation of Economic Education. Ford is spending billions of dollars on electric vehicles that no one is buying, despite all of the heavy taxpayer subsidies to encourage us to buy electric vehicles. People aren't buying them, and I think I know why. But we'll have Jon Miltimore explain when we get back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here, and we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Hey there, it's your favorite Vice President Joe Biden. I wanted to talk to you today about the Wake Up America show, the best source for all your political news and commentary. But before I get started, let me just make sure I have all my notes in order. Okay, where was I? All right, the Wake Up America show. It's a great way to stay informed and make your voice heard. Boy, what was I saying again? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's important that we all stay engaged and knowledgeable about what's going on in our country and, the thing. But hold on, where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah. The Wake Up America show. It's a fantastic resource. And if you really want to make a difference, man, you can sign up to be a monthly donor at wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, the Wake Up America show. So if you want to stay woke and support a great cause, head on over to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support and sign up to be a monthly donor today. And if you're feeling generous, you can even give a donation in my name. Thanks for listening, and keep on keeping on, America. Come on, man.
Thank you for watching the Wake Up America show with my dad. Today, I'd like to share with you 3 reasons why you should visit Dad's online store at apforlibertyshop.com. Number 1, you can get exclusive freedom-loving merch designed by AP himself or me mum, Steffi. Liberty Laura has made some designs as well, and blimey, they are great. Number 2, most of these products are so wicked that they aren't even allowed to be advertised on Facebook or Instagram. Modern machine guns and a proper keychain. Plus, our Grover Cleveland t-shirt is so spicy apparently that leftists on Facebook specifically banned it from appearing on the website. Number 3, you're supporting liberty lovers just like you. Spend your money where you earn it, and you help me pups build a community that supports what you believe. Bloody hell, this commercial is running too long. Gotta run. Bye now. Don't forget to visit apforlibertyshop.com. That's apforlibertyshop.com.
Good morning, Rise in Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you click that like button and subscribe to the channel. so you can get updates whenever we go live, which you should have memorized by now, right? Every Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central, we do 2 hours of fun libertarian news talk. We talk about economics. We talk about political discourse, gossip, movies, TV, pop culture, pretty much a little bit of everything. And right now we're going to talk to our friend Jon Miltimore, who's the managing editor of the Foundation for Economic Education, about electric vehicles. Good morning, Jon. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, AP. How's it going? Happy Monday.
Good. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well too, Jon. Give me just 1 second here as I dial in your audio.
Sure.
Make sure that you are set there. Give me a little chatter for me, Jon. Would you talk?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's no audio just yet. Give me just a second. Zoom, zoom, zoom. All right, count to 10 for me, will you, Jon?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
We got you. Sorry, I had to dial it in. I was having a little bit of audio trouble this morning, but now we've got you here, bud. Jon, I read this article over the weekend. It started out like this. It was the Breitbart people who were complaining about China flooding the American market with cheap electric vehicles. And I was like, oh no, please won't someone save us from cheap electric vehicles? And I said to myself, okay, well, they're going to flood the market. Well, what's that going to do? Well, it looks as if the market is already being flooded by electric vehicles because of subsidies that are happening in the federal government. And then I saw another article that says that Ford is losing billions of dollars on electric vehicles. What in the hell is going on with the electric vehicle market in this country, Jon?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And I didn't know any of this until I saw one headline that said Ford was slashing the price of its Lightning. It's a pickup truck, like a F-150. And they were slashing prices by about $10,000. So I said, okay, what's going on? So it turns out a couple of things. One, Tesla is rolling out its Cybertruck, which is going to be in competition with the Lightning. But I think even more importantly, if you look, there's a huge glut of EVs in the market. Cox Automotive Report said there's close to 100,000 right now on dealership lots, which is way about 400% more than a year ago. It's way more as a percentage than gas, cars. I think what they did, they just overestimated the demand for these vehicles. And I have nothing against EVs. Here's the thing: I've argued many times. It's the subsidies that bother me, right? Like I don't think you need to be taxing. You're using tax dollars to subsidize, some technologies, and this is one of them. There's also the technology needs to come around. Like the batteries on these vehicles, like the battery technology is improving, right? Like it's getting better. But like if you look at the Lightning, it has about half the range as the gas car, right? So I think things like that are, there's places where EVs just aren't practical still. I live in Minnesota. You don't want an electric vehicle up here. Like it's really cold, and those vehicles struggle in the cold. You don't have charging stations right now. We're still figuring out where are you going to go to charge your vehicle. So even if you want one, there's going to be things that kind of are holding you back. And to me, it shows there's a knowledge problem here, right? Like everybody thought like, okay, the market's going to do this. We had a big year last year where it's going to be, 35, 40% increase. We're not seeing that. If you look at Ford, their Mustang electric vehicle, the Mach 4 or something, I forget what it's called, like price it, like that's down 40, 50% on sales from a year ago. The Lightning is managing to kind of hold pace right now, but they're slashing price on that, I think, because demand's so weak. So I think that's what you had. A bunch of people thought there would be a lot more demand for these vehicles than there actually is. And the problem is, like, here's the thing: people think of EVs as super clean. They're not as clean as people think. It takes tons and tons of mining to build these batteries and these cars and the wiring and everything. And if you look, they too run, like even when you have them, first they take a lot more CO2 to produce, right? If you take an EV, it takes a lot more CO2 to produce an EV than a gas car. Now you can get that back, but it takes 6, 7, 8 years of driving to kind of become even carbon neutral. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions about EVs, and the market's kind of wild west right now. Like but the good thing is, if you do want to buy one, I'd keep your eye on the market right now because prices are coming down.
Robbie Thurman over in the live stream says that the range is even less if you actually do truck things with your truck. That's my concern, Jon. When I was driving down to Athens, Tennessee for the documentary I was telling you about, we were loaded to the gills with heavy lights and microphones and mic stands and all kinds of crap. And our truck is, this F-150, it's kind of like swaying out behind us because of how heavy it is. And I'm just thinking, and I mean, we spent a lot of money on gasoline getting back and forth between those two. There's no way we could have done that trip with an electric vehicle. I don't care if it's a Cybertruck or what have you. We can't drive 10 hours there and back, 10 hours there, 10 hours back, carrying all of that equipment. There's just absolutely no way we could have done that without a gas-powered vehicle. I mean, that is why you buy a truck that drives
No, I totally
with
agree.
gas.
Yep. No, you'd be charging every 2 hours or something,
Yeah.
right? And which is something nobody wants to do. There's trade-offs, right? There's some things about a powered vehicle or that are better. EVs have some things that are kind of cool. And I'll tell you, some of these Teslas rock. Like they will put your head back. They're nice vehicles, expensive vehicles. But yeah, and again, you have, if you're going to be doing truck things, or if you're driving in the cold, or there's certain things that are going to say, the technology has a long way to go yet. And I think, this is the problem when you get government meddling. They're taking something that might be actually good, like a market of EVs that could be cool cars that could, this technology is improving. And I don't think they eventually will need the subsidies, but they're so far ahead of things. They're kind of, messing with the market and messing with the environment. Like I said, I don't think people realize how much, where do we get the lithium for that battery? Or where do we get all the copper wiring? Like some of these, you have a mile of copper wiring. All that mining is happening somewhere. Most of it's not here because we don't want to do the dirty work here. But at some point, you're going to need all these minerals to produce these EVs. We'll see if it's sustainable. We'll see if we have enough, even by, relying on South America, where we get a lot, and other countries, to produce these things that the EVs require.
If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. I'm speaking to Jon Miltimore. He's the managing editor of the Foundation for Economic Education. We're having a conversation about electric vehicles. If you like this show and the content that you're watching, well, click like on that subscribe button as well. You need to hit it so that you don't quit it. We'd love to hear from you more about the topic that we're discussing or anything that you think we might be missing at our text line at 573 319 1586. That's 573-319-1586. So electric vehicles, they have their place. You're doing maybe little small runs to the grocery store here and there in your small town so that you can charge up, but trucks just aren't there. I mean, is this hubris on behalf of these truck miners? Is this really like an issue of the disequilibrium that's caused by governments weighting too heavily in the market? Because you have Tesla, who's not subsidized, but Elon is investing in a Cybertruck, but truck technology when it comes to electric vehicles at this point doesn't really make sense. So on one hand, you have like the disequilibrium of the incentives when it comes to the subsidies in the electric vehicle market. But I mean, also we have the problem of the fact that the electric grid really can't handle all of the electric vehicles, that the amount of power that needs to be generated is demand because the left won't let us create more nuclear power plants. There's too many humongous problems here, all intersecting, Jon.
Oh no, you're right about the power needs. That's interesting because like California alone has somewhere just south, I think, of 1 million EVs right now. They say they're by 2030 or 2035 or whatever the year is that they're going to have 12.5 million. And that is the question: how is California, that can barely keep the lights on right now? They have these rolling blackouts every summer. They're struggling, to meet their energy needs. How are they going to do that when you have 12 million more electric vehicles that need to be charged? I think these are really important questions that not enough people are asking. We've created this really kind of naive view, like gas-powered cars bad and EVs good. And there's pros and cons to each. I have all gas-powered vehicles because right now I think they, for me, they make the most sense. EVs can get there, but it's going to take a whole lot of other things to help us get there. We need to be doing more mining for resources, and we need to get our power grid up to snuff, or you're going to have a lot of grumpy consumers.
One of our listeners asked the question, Kermode Bear over on Rumble this morning. Good morning, Kermode. He says that he asked the question, do electric trucks have the same towing power as the gasoline trucks? I dropped that into ChatGPT real quick, and just keep in mind that the last time that ChatGPT was updated was with statistics from 2021. So it's 2 years behind. But here's what they had said, that electric trucks can be engineered to have impressive towing capabilities. Electric motors provide instant torque, which can be advantageous for towing heavy loads. Many electric trucks are designed with strong electric motors that can compete or even surpass some gasoline-powered trucks in terms of towing capacity, but that depends on the individual model. Now, the range refers, of course, to how far it can travel in a single charge, and there have been limitations in range due to battery technology, but significant improvements have been made. So you have to consider that the range, of course, can be influenced by factors like driving habits, load weight, road conditions, and weather. So I don't know about what kind of changes may have happened in the last 2 years, but it sounds like there can be some benefits to electric vehicles, in the right capacity. But John, I'm not a pessimist. I consider myself an optimist. But if we can't solve the energy crisis, if California can't even afford to power what they have right now, and adding on to this, this challenge of electric vehicles on top of it, I don't really see us in the short term being able to pull off some kind of a feat. I think we're probably going to get in another situation where we're just going to have just miles and miles of electric vehicles sitting out in the sun. What do you think?
I think there's a real possibility of that happening, right? Like, these are things people really haven't thought too hard about. How all they say is, "Oh, we want more EVs on the road." You don't realize all the supply chains that go into producing those cars. You don't realize, all the things. Like, to me, here's a good example of, government again making a problem worse. If you had, we need to charge these vehicles. Like a perfect place would be like these way stations, right? These interstate, way stations. Federal law prevents you from even using those, right? And they're not making any sort of, like, that's something like people could say, "Oh, okay, I can go charge my vehicle here." Like, that would be something easy. All we have to do is just cut the red tape. They're not even doing that. So I think that this is going to be, quite a mess. I don't think we're ever going to reach those lofty numbers of 12.5 million EVs in California. And even if you look, all of these bans, like, we're seeing states, I think we're up to 7 states now that have banned the production of gas-powered cars in their state. All of those, they're doing it in like 2035, right? So they're doing the ban now, so they get patted on the back and they get like, "Oh, great job, we're being energy, efficient, we're being clean." Well, all the problems that they're down the road, so they don't have to deal with the problems that are gonna come a decade and a half from now or a decade from now. That's probably smart politically, but that, as people, we should say, well, why are they? If this is so good, why are they putting it out there 15 years? I think we're going to have a rude awakening on this front for, because, like I said, these technologies are not as green as we've been led to believe. Secondly, we're not going to be able to make this change over to them. There's going to be a lot of hiccups, some of which we can kind of look and see right now. Others are going to be completely, we hadn't even thought about.
If you're just tuning in to the Wake Up America show, good morning. Make sure you click that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this content. I'm speaking to Jon Miltimore. He is the managing editor of the Foundation for Economic Education. What's new in your world, John? How's Fee doing these days?
He's doing great. This isn't formally announced. I think it gets formally announced today. I'm shifting into editor at large. Like, it kind of fits with my role now. So I'll be doing less of the managing of the website and stuff and that work, and get to do more content creation. So that's great. Fee, we're doing lots of great stuff. We're producing videos on YouTube all the time. We publish there every day. And so check out our content on fee.org.
Do that. Jon Miltimore is editor at large now at the Foundation for Economic Education. You guys are doing great work over there, John. Thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate you getting up so early and joining us on the show.
Hey, happy to be here, AP. You have a great week.
Thank you very much. What do you think of Jon Miltimore? Send us a text at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. We still got lots more show to go. Did you see that Cardi B threw a microphone at a fan? Well, why did she do that? Not just because she's loud and proud, but because somebody threw a drink on her, and it's become a big trend this summer to see artists being assaulted at concerts. Fans keep throwing objects at musicians, and I've got a list of incidents that's proof of this trend. We'll talk about that when we get back on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
To the Cantina crew, this is Elon Musk, the CEO of Twitter, and I just want to say thank you for watching the Wake Up America show. I've decided that Austin Peterson will be the new CEO of Twitter.com, effective immediately. First thing to do, though, is I've got to go and blast off into space.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government. Get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? You can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist! Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins!
Yeah, perfect. Good boy. Amazing. One more time. Yeah, cool, Bobby. Thank you. Oh, there is another little doggy. He's scared. He's scared. Hello.
Well, the segment is titled Social Weirdness. Good morning. I'm Austin Peterson. Welcome back to the Wake Up America Show. Glad you're here. Click that like button and subscribe to the channel. Yes, what was it that we were just watching? A Japanese man in a dog suit who spent $14,000. Stephanie can be happy now. It's a Japanese man who decided to spend $14,000 so he could transform into a collie. And as I was informed by Maria Krabs earlier, apparently it's not a border collie. It's just a regular collie. I don't know the difference between the two. Okay. But the Japanese man decided to go for a walk on his first day as a collie. And of course, he was aided and abetted by the aiders and abettors of all of degeneracy in the world today, which is, of course, the white liberal females. You can see here the Japanese man and his, they say $20,000 on this video, but they can't even get border collie right. Can we really trust him? There he is. Rolling over. Living his life as a dog.
Amazing. One more time. Yeah.
There was a time when we had mental hospitals.
Be careful. Are you good?
Now there are in Japan, but somehow the white liberal female has immigrated to Japan to come in there to bring the degeneracy to their country. Although a lot of that is flowing out from their country to ours as well in the form of anime, as you well know. Concert goers this summer have been throwing items at the talent on stage is a trend. From BB Rexa to Kelsey Ballerini, fan behavior has been stopping concerts this summer. The latest incident, of course, Cardi B threw a microphone back. Gotta say, good for her. Take a look. Here we go. Cardi B returning fire at a concert. Boom. Looks like she may have hit the wrong person, though. Let's see. Let's take a look here. Can we put a pause? Here's Cardi B in orange. Let's take a look and see who it was. So we've got the drink right here in the hand. You can see it's being held in somebody's left hand right there. And there is the certain, you could tell the color of the person's skin right here, but it looks as if this woman right here is the one who actually gets hit. Here we go. Boom, throws the drink on her. And keep in mind, that drink has probably got somebody's backwash in it. It's not like when you drink a drink that it all comes out. Some of what you've got in your mouth goes back in. Boom, it looks like she hits this woman right here. We do have another angle on this one as well, though. Let's take a look here. You can see Cardi, she gets splashed on. Boom. Can't really tell right there. But this is a trend that's been developing this summer. Here's another video that I have of Remy Ma reacting to a fan throwing something on stage here.
Don't get fucked up. I can fight.
Yeah, here we go. And this is a Firefly Festival from 2022, though. So last year, Porter Robinson said their top 5 moments of my life, hitting Porter Robinson with a glow stick. Here we are. Boom, look at them. All throwing all their stuff at the artist. Why? You pay all this money to go to these concerts. Look at this. Scream Queen, what she had to say about it.
Play with your pussy, bitch, and don't play with motherfucking me.
Watch your language.
Play with your pussy, bitch, and don't play with motherfucking me.
Here's Drake. He's not a fan of vapes, apparently.
Come on. Hey, you definitely, who threw this? Who threw the vape? There's no way you're taking life serious if you think I'm gonna pick this vape up and vape with you. Throw a vape up.
Like, what is wrong with people? Why are they doing this? Why do they pay hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars even to go see these concerts just to disgrace the artists that they claim to love? Experts say that it's anything from excitement to just wanting to be famous on social media, which is where I would put this more than likely. But fans have been throwing things at artists for decades. Ozzy Osbourne and the bat in 1982, somebody threw a bat at him and he picked it up and took a bite of it, right? David Bowie and the lollipop in 2004, but it has become a big trend over the last few months. In July, the rapper Lotto was at a festival in Germany. An object was thrown at her on the stage as she performed her song. She says, "Want to get your ass beat? Throw it again." She says, "Throw it again. I'm going to beat your ass." Harry Styles as well. The One Direction singer was performing in Vienna, Austria on July 8th, and a fan hit him in the face with an object. But after it struck him, it brought his hand to his eye, and he stopped on a set of steps before he walked off stage holding his eye. Let me see if I can actually, I might have that one as well. This is of Harry Styles being assaulted at a concert in Vienna, Austria. So lest you think that this is just something that Americans are engaging in, here's the Harry Styles video. Take a look at this. Kind of hard to see it hitting him, but you can tell he's holding his eye. Boom, something hit him right there. You can just kind of barely see it though. Not the best quality video there on that one. But it continues. Drake, the vape that we showed over there, BB Rexa, right? A fan threw a cell phone at BB Rexa. Now, she actually had a cut on her eye because of this. She was performing in New York City in June when she was hit in the face by the phone, causing her to drop to her knees as crew members were rushing to help her. How stupid do you have to be to throw your cell phone at an artist? They're going to be able to tell who you are based on the cell phone, you stupid idiots. Is there nothing people won't do for clout? I wouldn't know. It depends on how much clout. You can text the show today at 573-319-1586. When we get back, Donald Trump spending $40 million to fight legal challenges this summer, yet he is the front runner for the president of the United States from the Republican Party. We'll talk about that with John Cardillo when we get back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here, and we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Hey there, it's your favorite Vice President Joe Biden. I wanted to talk to you today about the Wake Up America show, the best source for all your political news and commentary. But before I get started, let me just make sure I have all my notes in order. Okay, where was I? All right, the Wake Up America show. It's a great way to stay informed and make your voice heard. Boy, what was I saying again? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's important that we all stay engaged and knowledgeable about what's going on in our country and, the thing. But hold on, where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah. The Wake Up America show. It's a fantastic resource. And if you really want to make a difference, man, you can sign up to be a monthly donor at wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, the Wake Up America show. So if you want to stay woke and support a great cause, head on over to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support and sign up to be a monthly donor today. And if you're feeling generous, you can even give a donation in my name. Thanks for listening, and keep on keeping on, America. Come on, man.
I'm George. Thank you for watching the Wake Up America show with my dad. Today, I'd like to share with you 3 reasons why you should visit Dad's online store at apforlibertyshop.com. Number 1, you can get exclusive freedom-loving merch designed by AP himself, or me mum, Steffi. Liberty Laura has made some designs as well, and blimey, they are great! Number 2, most of these products are so wicked that they aren't even allowed to be advertised on Facebook or Instagram. Modern machine guns and a proper keychain. Plus, our Grover Cleveland t-shirt is so spicy apparently that leftists on Facebook specifically banned it from appearing on the website. Number 3, you're supporting liberty lovers just like you. Spend your money where you earn it, and you help me Pops build a community that supports what you believe. Bloody hell, this commercial is running too long. Gotta run. Bye now. Don't forget to visit apforlibertyshop.com. That's apforlibertyshop.com.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at apforlibertyshop.com. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. How have you been enjoying the show so far? Oh, good. Well, studio audience is happy. That's always nice to hear. But we haven't heard from the live streamers just yet. The only way for you to register your approval is to click that like button on the show. If you haven't already, make sure you do that. I know that over on Rumble, it's a little tough to find the like button sometimes, or perhaps maybe you're just not signed in and you're watching the show this morning. Would you do us a favor? Just sign into that Rumble app and click that like button on the stream to help us spread the message of economic freedom and personal liberty. And make sure that you subscribe to the channel as well so that you can get updates when we go live. Every Monday through Friday, the Wake Up America show is brought to you for 2 hours by myself and my wife, who put this together as a passion project to talk to people about the ideas that we really, truly care very deeply about. We love our country, we love liberty, and we love freedom. We're going to be fighting for that for every day until the day we die. Help us to spread that message by supporting the show. Clicking like and subscribe is a free way to do so. You can also subscribe to the channel and become a monthly supporter. Now, I know a lot of people who are online personalities like this, they get donations and, you never know really what happens with it. But we use the money that we raise here not only to support ourselves, but to support projects like our new documentary that will be coming out, the Bleed American Battle of Athens documentary. We raised a good amount of money to go to Athens, Tennessee last week to shoot a documentary about an event that occurred in 1946 where World War II veterans, tired of election interference and fraud going on in their town, decided to take up arms in defense of their liberty. Things like that, as well as our new coffee brand to help support the Wake Up America show. Have you tried our new Founding Flavors coffee yet? Honestly, it's really good. And for people who are coffee snobs, I know what you're thinking. Like, it can't be that great, right? Like, how could Austin find a coffee that I am somehow going to like because I only drink such and such, or I only drink such and such? Well, you should definitely consider trying Founding Flavors at apforlibertyshop.com. You might have seen the commercial that just played a minute ago. If you are a coffee snob, Founding Flavors is for you. And it's a premium coffee brand that we have brought to you, and that is for people who are lovers. If you're like, it's not for everybody. I know for some people, like Chris Morrill, for example, he's like, I drink Folgers and that's what it is. Yeah. If you just drink, if you drink $6 coffee, Folgers, you buy a pound of coffee for $6 from Folgers and that's all you drink, that's fine. Founding Flavors may not be for you, but if you are somebody who is a coffee lover and you demand a higher quality coffee for what you drink every morning, I am that way. I'm a kind of a coffee snob. I'm a snob for food in general, but today I'm drinking my favorite of all of our flavors, which is the Benjamin Franklin's Electric Elixir, which is my favorite of all of them. It has like notes of hazelnut in it and dark chocolate, which I really appreciate. But for those of you who like something like a lighter roast, the Jeffersonian Java is really delicious. And a lot of people have bought the Washington's Revolutionary Roast as well and have tried it. And for those of you who don't like caffeine, from people who do like decaf coffee, the Liberty Lullaby from Betsy Ross's Liberty Lullaby from Founding Flavors is a really good option for you as well. For those of you who maybe you work late nights and you don't want to have to not lose any sleep over it, make sure you try our decaf blend as well. If you have tried it and you like it, make sure that you leave a nice review over at apforlibertyshop.com. Underneath the product itself are all of our reviews, and all of the reviews that have come in so far have said that people universally have loved the coffee, and people don't usually write good reviews for a product that they do not like, and they just won't leave a review. They'll either say nothing because they like you, or they will leave a bad review if they leave a review. But all of our reviews for our coffee so far have been really positive. So make sure you check it out at apforlibertyshop.com. That's AP, the number 4, apforlibertyshop.com. Studio 314 says he uses an enamel camp coffee pot to brew his coffee in. He's been brewing one flavor for a long time, so now he needs a clean pot. Can't wait to try it. All right, so Donald Trump's legal woes seem to never end, with $40 million in legal fees for trying to fight all of the multiple indictments that are going on. Will Donald Trump still be the Republican presidential candidate? We'll talk to Jon Cardillo about that in just a moment. Looks like he's trying to connect right now with us. We don't have any audio or video with him, but it looks like he is trying to get connected. So there he is. All right. Jon, I don't see any audio for you just yet, bud. So if you can hear me, just so you know, we don't have audio for you yet. So just play with your microphone. There we go. And he's coming in hot right now from the state of Florida, former NYPD and friend of the show, Jon Cardillo. Good morning, Jon.
Hey, Austin, how are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on the show today, Jon. We've been talking a little bit about the legal woes that the Trump campaign faces, and that's the big news. I'd like to get into that, and then afterwards I want to talk about the absolute bloodletting that's going on between you DeSantis people versus Trump people. It's just somebody who's a little undecided at this point. It's just kind of making me want to vote for Vivek Ramaswamy, but we'll get to that in a moment. Tell me about what's going on with Trump's legal woes. Is this going to be a man who's sitting in jail while he's running for president?
Look, I don't think they're going to imprison the guy because he doesn't really pose a threat to anybody. I mean, everything they're accusing him of are nonviolent white-collar issues. They haven't even charged him with a financial crime. And so I think the logistical nightmare of imprisoning a former president of the United States who's under Secret Service protection for nonviolent crimes, and he'll be 80 years old, the optics of that for DOJ, that's already suffering a horrible confidence problem by the American people. They have none in DOJ, right? It's suffering a terrible PR problem, is being weaponized and biased. Putting a former president, a political opponent, in prison would be a nightmare. Now, that said, some of these charges appear to hold water. And I've always said this. DOJ is absolutely weaponized, Austin. DOJ is absolutely biased. The FBI is biased. Merrick Garland is still really pissed off he didn't get that Supreme Court seat. He's going to be, exacting revenge for the rest of his life. But damn, does Trump make it easy for them, because he won't shut up, especially when he's being recorded on audio and video. He might as well go out. I'm stumbling over my words. I'm so excited. He might as well go out and buy bows and wrapping paper for the case he's handing DOJ on a silver platter. It's I've never seen anything like it, but it doesn't surprise me that his lawyers keep quitting. How do you defend a guy like that?
I have no idea, but there's a lot of people who would love to defend him, apparently, at least among the American people or the Republican Party. Former President Donald Trump is dominating his rivals for the Republican presidential nomination, leading his nearest challenger, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, by a landslide, 37 percentage points nationally among the likely Republican primary electorate. This is according to the first New York Times Siena College poll of the 2024 campaign. How do we explain this?
Well, number one, I don't believe any polls. The samples are small, but these are state by state contests. So a national poll 5.5 months out from the first primary, to me, is meaningless junk data. I'd rather look at state by state polls that are issue driven. That said, look, Trump's in the lead because he came in onto the scene in 2015 with 100% global name recognition, right? The guy's larger than life. So everybody expected Trump to be in the lead. Do I believe it's 37 points? No, because they don't even poll likely voters, right? They'll do like a national poll of registered voters. They may have people in that sample that have never voted in the last 20 years. People like Vivek Ramaswamy, who never voted until 2020. And we're going to get into that because I am so surprised you would that you
yeah,
would
we'll get there.
like anything about him. But anyway, no, look, I think it's way too early. And I've never believed national polls for primary elections on either side of the aisle. I think we got to wait until we start getting around November, December and looking at the polls on a state by state level.
Okay, so if we're not going to look at the polls, but we agree that Trump is probably in the lead. I mean, I just got back from Athens, Tennessee. All right, that's real world America, where they don't watch the news all day long. If they watch news, they do watch Fox. And universally, the people that I spoke to there were like, I'm going to vote for Trump because they don't believe that any of these charges against him are legit, and they think that he deserves his revenge. Do you think that that's probably what this is about? That the reason why Trump is in the lead is because people feel like he needs, they want to see him sort of get revenge? I mean, there's something kind of, while it may be twisted, it may be a little sadistic, there is something that would be exciting to see if you kind of let the bull loose in the china shop. Do you think that's what's going on?
Well, I think that many people feel that way. Absolutely, right. And I think it's twofold. They want to see him exact revenge, and/or they know, I'm not even going to say thing because it's fact now, that DOJ and FBI are weaponized and they're essentially the Democrats' Gestapo. They're Stasi. Now, that all said, I do think Trump is going to have some problems, right? Taking partisan politics out of it, and taking my primary allegiances to DeSantis over Trump, and I'll explain why in a moment because it dovetails with the second part of your question. I do think this Georgia case and what's coming in DC might have teeth. This documents case, man, that superseding indictment and jamming up a maintenance guy, that's pretty damning stuff. And DOJ will typically do that because they'll now start indicting anybody who touched the crime, hoping somebody flips. Now, if you're a maintenance guy at Mar-a-Lago and somebody who speaks directly to the former president of the United States, this larger than life character, asks you to do something and keep it quiet on behalf of the bigger guy, what are you going to do? Say, no, you're not going to feed your family? We're not talking about a CEO here who's got millions in stock reserve. We're talking about a guy maybe living check to check, maybe modest savings. So they're going to do it. But do you think that person's going to go down for you if DOJ throws them a lifeline? So I think that's what you got to watch. Georgia, if Kemp and Raffensperger were prosecution witnesses to the grand jury, it's going to be damning. And then who knows what's coming in DC. So I've kept my powder very dry with this because I despise what DOJ is doing. But after seeing these videos the last few days of Trump's people, almost universally, his entire 2020 inner circle lost and saying, we knew we lost. The president knew we lost, but he was embarrassed. I'm paraphrasing Mark Meadows. Bannon saying, well, we can't let anybody know he lost, so we're just going to say he won and create the narrative that he won. And they knew they lost. This is their own words. And they still raised $250 million off that lie. I think that's going to be problematic, and I'd be shocked if DOJ is not looking into that as well. Last point, there won't be a bull in a china shop. Trump is as bad on personnel today as he was in 2015 and as he'll be, for as long as he lives. I've said it on this show before, and I'll say it again. He was the worst president on personnel in the history of the presidency. He's not changing now.
If you're just tuning in the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm Austin Peterson. We're glad to have you here. Make sure you click that like button and subscribe. Good morning, AP, says Heartland Okie. Glad to have you here, Heartland. Make sure you click like and subscribe as the cost of admission to the show, which is free to you, and fights for the principles of economic freedom and personal liberty. I'm speaking to Jon Cardillo, former NYPD and talk show host himself. He's joining us now from the sunny state of Florida, where his governor, Ron DeSantis, and his former president are at odds, fighting both for the nomination of the Republican Party. But less interesting than that, or more interesting than that, I might actually say, is the battle of the war of words on social networks between DeSantis supporters and Trump supporters. God damn, John. I can't open up my, I guess we call it X.com now, or an X app.
It's X. Yes.
We're not tweeting anymore. We're Zeeting or whatever the hell it is. It's terrible, but we can get to that another time. But what I see, just the unbelievable amount of bloodletting between these two camps. I thought 2016 was pretty nasty with the primary, with Donald Trump calling Rand Paul, like he said he had stupid spaghetti hair or things like that. I thought it was pretty rude. I've never seen Republicans fight like this. I mean, Ronald Reagan's got to be turning over in his grave. Why the vitriol between these two camps that are going to have to come together? I mean, it's like I'm starting to think, John, that 2024 is probably lost.
I don't know about that. I think Trump loses in a landslide. Others can win. Let me say this. About a month ago, I made a personal decision to stop engaging these idiots, because these are younger guys. They have no life experience.
Some of them are like 15 years old.
Yeah, even the main players are 25, 30, but they've got no life experience. And I've dug into them. They're broke. A lot of them are broke. They're upside down in their mortgages. They're all trying to run on that little grift. Others have allegations against them, the pretty serious ones, domestic violence, drug. So you start to realize that these people only can exist in Trump world because every grifter is allowed in. And about a month ago, I've ignored all of the vitriol. Now, I will say this. A couple of them did cross the line. And people I do business with queued up defamation lawsuits. So a few of these people are going to be, they're going to be very surprised when they see what hits them. But I'll leave that there. But I made a decision to stop personally engaging. So you take some of these people, if they are flat out wrong on policy, I'll quote tweet them and say, this is absolutely incorrect. They're saying DEF, but it's ABC. But I ignore when they personally attack me 1,000 times a day now. And I've been ignoring them for about a month, and like petulant children, their tantrums get worse and worse and worse because they want attention. But I will say this, when this all started, when the first vitriolic shot was thrown, and I was one of the first to take that fire, I reached out to two of these people behind the scenes, texted them or DM'd them, I forget. And I said, hey, look, we've always gotten, these were people I was very friendly with. Hey, we've always gotten along. Come on, we all know this is nonsense. We're going to have a drink, and this is all theater. Let's give them some good theater, but let's not make it personal. And both of them said, we stand with President Trump. You're now an enemy. Anyone who doesn't is a traitor and a communist. They're nuts. I mean, I call it cultism. It's cultism. I've never seen anything like it. I'm like, we'll go have a drink. Come on, we'll laugh about this. Absolutely not. You're my sworn enemy now. I'm going to invoke prima nocta if you get married. What the? These people are insane. They're insane. It's like, and so I made the decision. I'm like, I'm not going to wrestle with pigs and get muddy. I'm just going to ignore them, let them scream at the sky like they're God, King, Emperor, man, baby. And look, I supported Trump. I supported Trump for 7 years. I've got a right to say everything I'm saying. The guy embarrassed me. He let me down, and this $250 million grift is just mortifying. But the fact that they're with him and they're slinging all this mud, they just have nothing else. They've got nowhere else to go. They're unemployable. They're ungriftable with anyone else because nobody else will let them in.
We're speaking to Jon Cardillo right now, who is letting us know how he feels about the Trump supporters and their constant attacks on DeSantis people. The more time that passes, Tali Owen says on the live stream, the more I'm growing roots in the DeSantis camp. That doesn't mean I'm wavering with Trump. I'm a hard no on Trump this go round. Good to know. Yeah, a lot of people, I mean, I like Ron DeSantis. It does seem as if the campaign is not being well managed or well run, right? Being able to run a good campaign is an indicator of how you might, run the country, because, governing is campaigning by other means, as in a sense. They do seem to be struggling, John.
Well, let me say this. I know the team very well, and I won't disclose private conversations I've had, but I will say this. You've got some very talented and competent people, and I think there were a lot of people brought on too early, so there was some confusion as to who was doing what job. They've streamlined, and I'm not saying this, I'm a supporter, but you've gotten to know me well enough over the years. I'm going to call it like it is. I'm going to call balls and strikes. And I've told them my issues. I've told them things like, you're not posting enough on social media. You guys have to get that together, because they have a pretty robust social media team. But I think it's a decision-making process that was a bit belabored in terms of approving content. That's being fixed. I had a tremendously encouraging call with them last week. And the reason I say tremendously encouraging, there wasn't a lot of fluff. They started the call by saying, these are the things we know we've done wrong. This is how we're fixing them. And these are the bodies we've deployed to fix them. And it made a lot of sense. And I saw, this was the most encouraging part to me. I had that call a day or so before Iowa, and everything he did in Iowa, and he had a tremendous trip to Iowa, very successful, were things they said we're going to change and we're going to execute, and it worked, and there's more of it, and it's getting better. So I think the DeSantis campaign is going to look very different in 30 days than it does today, and I think it's coming off that Iowa momentum. So I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, but absolutely, look, mistakes were made in the beginning. Some things were mismanaged, but I truly believe they get it, they understand it, up to and including the governor. And he's taking responsibility for it, and I see the changes, and I've seen them deployed in Iowa. So I'm pretty optimistic about what's to come.
Okay, good. Because I like to hear that, because I do like DeSantis, and I definitely would vote for him proudly if he wins the Republican nomination. But when it comes to the Republican nomination, I like Tim Scott. I like Vivek Ramaswamy. When it
Why do you like Tim Scott? You were the last guy that would like Scott.
What'd you say?
I said you were the last guy I would have thought would have liked Scott.
Why do you think that?
I mean, you're libertarian. He's more establishment. I just figured you'd have a odd gut feeling about him.
Well, no, I get odd gut feelings about, I mean, and I do tend to trust my gut, but, he hasn't, the reason why I like Tim Scott is because he hasn't jumped on board with the national conservative movement that's anti-economic freedom. Right. The Republicans who have held out against the trend or the fad for people to embrace this form of economic nationalism that people like Bannon and others have promoted, which is very anti-libertarian and anti-economic freedom, who pretend as if, the United States needs to be more like communist China in regards to control over the economics of the United States. That Tim Scott has not jumped on board that. So to me right now, I think within the Republican Party, the greatest threat that we are facing are those who do see the liberty wing of the Republican Party as the biggest threat. I mean, these people are declared enemies of libertarianism, and so for me, those are the biggest target, and Tim Scott's not one of them. Now, you've even got Mike Pence, for example, writing articles in Reason magazine about free market capitalism and how much how much he appreciates it, and this is the United States is the economic engine of the world. And so, Mike Pence gets a little bit of credit for me, even if, Tucker Carlson did destroy him and he made a big gaffe during that Blaze interview and things like that. So Tim Scott not having jumped on board with fad politics wins some points from me there. But of all of the candidates who stood out, I like Vivek Ramaswamy because I think he just brings a new perspective. Now, is it shady that he hasn't voted since 2020? Yeah, I think it's problematic. Is it shady that he hasn't really committed to any form of public service in any way whatsoever before this? I mean, even Donald Trump did a lot of work with charity before he became president of the United States, and donated a lot to Democrats too. But Vivek Ramaswamy, a fresh new face, like shows, the GOP what the future might look like.
I don't trust that guy, Austin, as far as I can throw him. I think he's a globalist, leftist,
really
wolf in sheep's clothing. I look at somebody's entire history, not the 15 minutes ago he came on the scene. And I'll tell you, I was in the VIP room suite at CPAC, where the politicians and the speakers I was speaking. And this guy, I've never seen anybody rush to a camera like this since Chuck Schumer. I mean, you would have gotten steamrolled. He would have steamrolled 4-year-olds to get the cameras. He is all about the flash, and he's like all flash, no cash. All hat, no cattle, as they say. This is a guy I do not trust. This guy, I think he's a Trojan horse. I want to add one thing, going back to something we were talking about when I was talking about the war with the influencers, and you had said Trump supporters. I want to make it clear. Trump supporters, by and large, are my good friends. They are great patriotic Americans who are sick of what's happened in this country. When I say cultists, I mean that small fringe who say, if anyone other than Donald Trump is the nominee, we'll burn it all down. We'll give it to Democrats. We'll write them in. We'll storm buildings. This tiny fraction of cultists who put memes up there of Trump as Jesus or God or another deity. That's what I'm talking about. So it's not supporters on the whole. I mean, many of my closest friends are still all in with Trump, and we have friendly sparring over it. But there's that small fringe group of lunatics. That's what I mean. It's very different than your Trump supporters en masse.
Good to know. I guess a question there when it comes to Trump. If Trump doesn't get the nomination, does he run third party?
No, I don't think he does, because he doesn't want to lose. You know, I wanted to say, I would have said in the past, no, he loves his country. I think Trump loves Trump, but Trump also doesn't want to lose again. You know, he's going to lose the primary and the general. Then he goes out with a terrible legacy. So I don't think he would do that to himself. Plus, he looks exhausted. He looks exhausted to me. I don't think he has it in him.
John, is there anything that you'd like to promote or plug or share with our listeners before we let you go today?
No, just check me out on Twitter at Jon Cardillo. You'll get all Austin and I talked about and more. Thanks, man.
What is Twitter? We're all on X now these days.
X. I'm sorry. That's right.
X.com to go to see his zeets over there. John, hey, thanks for getting up early and joining us on the show. We appreciate you very much.
Thanks, bud. Take care.
Thank you very much. What do you think of Jon Cardillo? Send us a text, 573-319-1586. What did you think of the show? It was a good show today. Yeah, had a few technical errors here and there, little things like that, but that's what happens when you're away for a few days. But we're back, baby. It's time to get back into the swing of things. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget to check out ap4libertyshop.com. Over at ap4libertyshop.com, get yourself delicious Founding Flavors coffee. We'd love to give you some delicious beans to suck on in the mornings on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Donald Trump and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Petersen is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Hello, my name is Kelvin. Welcome to Frenchy Bush. This is my Didi's website. Now I've decided to speak to you with my real voice for the first time ever to tell you about how cool Frenchy Bush is. But I've decided that this is the perfect opportunity to share with you. Frenchy Bush is a good website. You should follow us on socials. If you like Frenchies or any kind of bulldogs, me and my new brother George are going to try to make your life more fun. Hello, I'm George. My neck isn't really thick yet, but it will be. We are so glad you're here. Please ignore my floating eyeball. It helps me spot predators who might be approaching from the sides. Didi made Frenchy bullshit to review things that he uses on me and my brother to tell you if it's good or bullshit. Take this collar, for example. Didi really likes it. Didi said it's really handy because us Frenchies got thick necks. Need something really tough. People think Frenchies are little, but if you look at us from below, you can see we are really pretty buff. Beefcake, yes. Look at my creamy thighs and chest. Yes, you like that? Big brother, please focus. Frenchy Bush. Please follow us for more great content and read the Frenchy Bush blog for more fun and cool stuff.
I'm a public defender.
I am a public defender.
I'm proud to be a public defender.
80% of Americans accused of a crime will get appointed a public defender.
Everybody from a speeding ticket to capital murder.
For every dollar we spend on public defenders, we spend $3 on prosecutors.
Public defenders have to do pretty much everything on their own.
Social workers, counselors.
Investigating is another piece of it.
The average public defender holds 300 cases annually.
You never feel like there's enough time.
Public defenders have health issues all the time.
A lot of people people give up and say, I can't do this work anymore.
Gideon's Promise trains, mentors, and supports public defenders.
There are a lot of people who say that they would not still be public defenders, but for Gideon's Promise.
It's fueled me to continue on in this fight.
Gideon's Promise has changed the face of public defense.
People see us as troublemakers.
Good trouble only.
We don't make it easy. It should not be easy to take away someone's liberty.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your Founding Flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.